Hey everybody and welcome back to Semi Stories. Today we got some fun stories for you guys from r/today I messed up, starting with OP who messed up during roleplay, making her girlfriend mad. My girlfriend, 19 female, and I, also 19 female, are quite avid Star Trek fans. She recently asked me if I would be down to roleplay in the bedroom as characters from the original series, that being me as Mr. Spock and her as Captain Kirk. To be honest, I'm pretty neutral on roleplaying as it doesn't really do anything for me, but it's not like I find it disgusting. I just think it can be awkward, so it's not typically my thing. However, she seemed really into the idea and I'd like to make her happy, so I thought, why not? And I agreed to it. The basic plan was for us to dress up and then be in character for a bit. Then she was going to complain about her back, so I would give her a back massage. In my defense, I know this whole thing sounds incredibly cringe, but please bear with me. Anyway, during the back massage I was supposed to get a bit touchy, and then you can guess where I'm going with that. We also decided to have a safe word precisely so that we would know when to break character, because she wanted me to take it seriously. Here's where I messed up. It was going alright, and I was giving her a back massage for like 10 minutes at this point, and she was being kind of suggestive, I guess. My problem was that I just didn't know how Spock would actually act in a situation like this. Like, I know that I was supposed to initiate things, but I also wanted to be true to the characters. Eventually she starts whispering for me to go lower and stuff like that, but I still responded in character saying stuff like, "That's inappropriate of a Starfleet officer." She starts getting a bit mad and accusing me of not really being into it. This is where I think I took it too far, because I started talking about how it was just a back massage and I didn't know how I was supposed to be into it. Then she starts yelling at me that obviously we weren't still in character and I was being purposely dense. Which I suppose I sort of was, since I'm not stupid, and I just kind of felt like taking the piss a little bit. This turned into a massive argument where she tells me that she feels like I'm not attracted to her and that I don't try hard enough. And eventually she ends up crying and we barely spoke for 3 days after that. After that she came over and we talked a bit about it, but I still wasn't being super serious because the whole situation is just a bit ridiculous really. She gets mad again, and so I start getting a bit mad, and eventually we are really arguing and shouting and bringing up things in the past to hurt each other, and it turns toxic pretty quickly. Then she just gets fed up and breaks up with me right then and there. I know it may not come through in this post, but I really did love her, and it really sucks that this is how it has to end after all this time. I've been super depressed the past couple of weeks where I'm not eating or doing schoolwork, and I'm obviously not enjoying Star Trek like I used to. The more I think about it, I think I just embarrassed her in such a vulnerable moment, and I'm struggling to forgive myself for that. But then I remembered that it was an effing Star Trek cosplay, and I just kept going in circles. Anyway, I should have taken it more seriously. Yeah, tough situation. You should of course be more mindful to the other person, especially when the other person voices their concern, but it is also an insanely dumb thing to really get upset about. Maybe I just don't get it, but I think this was an overreaction, and breaking up over it kind of shows me that the relationship wasn't all that strong to begin with. Feels bad, man. In our next story, OP knocks up a girl on the first night, but what happens next is quite crazy. I met her through Tinder. The condom broke, but she said not to worry because she's on the pill. Fast forward a week where I see her for the second time and she tells me that she's pregnant. Boring story, I know, but now for the fun part. I saw self-harm scars on her arm, but only on the second night because she insisted on having the lights off in the first night. She then proceeded to tell me that those were from his 2 previous abortions, where she was so tortured about it that she had to do this. And that now she probably couldn't handle a 3rd abortion, and that anyway she actually knows how to end it this time. My heart effing sank, man. She's now coming over and will be here in an hour so that we could continue talking. We barely slept because we were talking about it, and she says she's like 70% sure she wants to keep the baby, but that she wouldn't ask any help from me except maybe seeing the baby once in a while. I can barely believe what I'm typing right now. I bought 2 early pregnancy tests, the expensive kind. I don't know what to do. Any advice? After getting obliterated by commenters saying that she's lying, OP then posted the first update. Holy crap, I just dodged the biggest effing bullet ever. I feel like Bullet Bill just zipped past my cranium. So she got here and just acted all cool, asking about my day and stuff. She then went on to explain how she felt all bloated and preggo, and I just couldn't believe the amount of BS coming out of her mouth. I cut her off and told her I didn't believe in the timing of things. I had looked it all up before she got here, and I said that I needed actual proof. Her, being a nurse, she insisted that she had access to blood tests that could detect HCG levels only 4 days after conception, which I knew was BS. She was so manipulative. She kept on saying that she's in medical so she just knows better, and I just kept bringing up the 11 to 14 days period of time after conception needed to take the relevant blood test. In the end, I just told her that she was a bad liar and that her manipulation attempts were in vain. So I told her to leave, now. She called a friend to pick her up and then just stared at me, smiled, and said that she would wait there, in my living room. And then the show began. She said, among other things, "Why would I ever lie about being pregnant? I'm 21. You should be ashamed of making me feel like a dirty How could I even be pregnant from another guy? You're the only guy I've been with recently. Oh, by the way, I already have a son, so I know how these things work." Pure gems. Her still being in my living room, I told her to leave or I'd call the cops. She smiled, the sassiest smile at me, so I did. After some more back and forth, she eventually went outside on the steps while saying how much of a white guy thing I was doing by calling the cops. She is half Caribbean, half European, but basically black. I closed the door with an intentional loud sign. The end. Anyways, thanks for the support everyone, it truly helped me. Opie then posted a second update. So I'm staying as far away as possible. I haven't had any contact with her since these texts. Now for timeline clarification, we met for the first time last Tuesday and again on Monday night. She said she wanted to get a hold of me during the weekend to tell me about it, which implies a test on Friday, not even 72 hours after conception. She then changed her story, saying that she got the tests on Sunday to try and make it more believable time-wise, I guess. She insisted that she's pregnant and that it's mine, so basically announced all of that to me 6 days after we first met. When I asked her for her to take the test for me, she flat out refused, citing disrespect on my part. Oh, and the last kicker, right before leaving, she said, "That's why I shouldn't have told you. All guys react the same. Now, please refer to me as Neo." Yeah, OP dodged a bullet and a half. Imagine being stuck with someone like that. Never stick your D in crazy, that's what I always say. I think it was a very eye-opening experience for OP to be a bit more careful who he sleeps with. I personally would never sleep with someone after one date, but that's just me. In his next story, OP messes up by going to the bathroom after a hot girl did. So today I was eating lunch at this bomb-ass Mexican restaurant in my area. Absolutely love their food, and they serve their chips with the enchilada sauce on top with melted cheese. Good lord. Anyways, I get up to use the bathroom, which is only a one-person unisex bathroom with a wooden door. I'm standing behind waiting for my turn, and up behind me walks a hot girl. Being a gentleman, I naturally let her cut in front of me. At no point in time was I hitting on her or was I expecting anything in return. Simply trying to be a gentleman. However, I will note that she was pretty attractive. The person walks out and then she goes in. A few moments later, she quietly walks out, smiles at me as if she's thanking me, and then I go in. Good God, Father Almighty, Maker of heaven and earth, I completely fell to the ground. The smell was absolutely horrific, and could best be described as soggy saltwater sand mixed with rancid meat. I immediately started to gag and breathe through my mouth. This only made it worse because I started to taste the smell, which only made me more sick. Then I look in the toilet to see the crime scene. She didn't even flush the toilet. It was like accidentally clicking on the worst NSFW picture in a sleazy underground unmoderated forum, or clicking open the mysterious AVI file you downloaded from LimeWire back in the 2000s. I kid you not that by this time I was having trouble keeping my eyes open as I flushed the toilet. My mouth began to water as I gagged and dry heaved. I'm over 2 years sober and hadn't felt that feeling since I quit drinking alcohol. I throw my hand over my mouth as my delicious food started to come out and expand my cheeks like two balloons. I empty the contents into the toilet, flush, unlike Mrs. Manner's school dropout, and bolt out the door. The feeling of relief was like walking out of a CS chamber complete with all orifice dripping liquid. I go up to the restaurant staff and pull an Ace Ventura shouting, "Do not go in there!" Of course, then I think they're going to think that it was me, so I tell them that I swear it wasn't me, followed by demanding that someone empty a bottle of Febreze or air freshener in the bathroom. Miss Chernobyl butt was gone by this point. I also learned today that something small, innocent looking, and pretty is capable of making the worst smell ever created in mankind. Typing this as I still have remnants of the lingering smell in my nose, and when I got home I threw all of my clothes in the washer and took a hot shower. What did OP expect going to a bomb-ass Mexican restaurant? Of course people are going to be nuking the toilet. It's like going to Taco Bell and not expecting the hot snakes afterwards. Shame on him. In our last story, OP goes to try Dungeons and Dragons with his girlfriend for the first time, but meets an incel. Me and my girlfriend aren't big on Dungeons and Dragons, but after playing through Baldur's Gate 3, we both wanted to try it out. We went to the Meetup app to find a group and settled on one that was running a beginner level campaign called the Death House. Come the day of the meetup and we meet the other players. In total there were 5 of us. The DM, who was pretty chill albeit a bit of a pushover, a quiet guy who was new to D&D but wanted to try, me and my girlfriend, and finally the crux of this experience, the incel. The experience was miserable. The incel was polite at first, but my girlfriend made it pretty clear that she wasn't interested. The incel took this as a challenge to start flirting with her character in the game. The whole situation was just super uncomfortable at the table. My girlfriend, bless her soul, was too introverted to tell him off. The DM didn't stop him either, so I stepped up in telling him off. But he had the audacity to say that it was just a game, bruh. Things go too far when he got possessed by the ghost of a kid who made him way more aggressive. Long story short, he got into a fight with everyone. He essentially SA'd my girlfriend's character while ranting about females, always picking the wrong guy. The DM called him out on that and I straight up killed his character on the grounds of him being too dangerous, but I was really super pissed. The guy storms off from the table, and the campaign goes on for another hour until campaign lived up to its name and total party killed us. The mood was thoroughly spoiled. After that, my girlfriend didn't want to try Dungeons and Dragons anymore. I was sad since I wanted to give it another shot with her, but I respected her decision. I thought it was the end of it. That is until the incel started talking to us on LinkedIn, more so my girlfriend. The effing idiot forgot it lets you know when someone visits your page. My girlfriend is freaking out and is scared he'll try to find out where we live. I tried assuring that would not happen, but internally I'm not so sure. The guy managed to figure out her other handles online. He friend requested her once on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but for the most part he hasn't done anything yet. Yeah, it always feels really bad getting into a new hobby and having the experience spoiled by someone like that. I personally play a lot of D&D, but never really had a bad player in my group besides an angry dice-hating murder hobo. Sadly, a part of the game is that it is basically social for people who dislike being too social, and thus it attracts some people who don't have any social skills, albeit, again, pretty irregularly. Now I pose the following question to you guys. Which story was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments and I will see you in the next one. See ya!